Everybody, so today we're going to talk disassembly on your M1943 Spanish Mauser, also known to Hunter's Lodge as the M1943 Spanish main battle rifle. Um, just a few little tools you're going to need. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver. Might need either a pair of pliers or a set of channel locks, just a small hammer, and relatively small punch. This is a 3/32 punch, and I'll show you why you're going to need that almost immediately. Now, I'm not going to go into a great amount of detail on this. Oh, by the way, Tim Weedman, this is for you. You asked me about disassembly, so we're going to dive off into this and just show you some quick, simple things that you need to do in order to disassemble your Spanish Mauser. Now, this safety latch is, on some of these I need to adjust this one, but on some of these it is a major pain to get up in the upward position. So you're going to want to make sure that's in the upward position. You're going to remove your bolt like so, set that aside, and the very first thing we're going to start with, if I can keep from dropping it, is this extended bayonet lug. Now, if you notice, right there is a pin that holds this thing in place. Now, with that punch, you can easily, I guess I could get this where you guys can see it a little better. You can easily see where basically you're just going to drive this out. I apologize, I don't have a very good setup here. I'm doing this at the kitchen table, actually. So we're going to go ahead and start by driving this out. So you can see you're just going to knock that straight out. There's your pin. Now, this thing is a bit of a pain to get off here. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't easy to get off here. I had to drive it off with a hammer, which is what I'm about to do. So everybody don't freak out. It's just an old Mauser. But one of the easiest ways is to set this thing straight up. You can actually see where I've kind of been, when I initially took this apart, it was very rusty. So right down here you can kind of see where I was impacting it. But I've oiled it since and cleaned it, so this should drive right off here fairly easily. Okay, so now you see that is off. Set that aside. Now you see the original bayonet lug. By the way, your FN 1924 bayonets, if you take off this extension that the Colombian or that the Spanish used, an M1924, FN bayonet will fit right on here. It's also the same bayonets that came on VZ24s. I recommend, if you're going to take this bayonet extension off, instead of doing like I did, as you can see there, you can take you a piece of wood, just like a little piece of 1x or anything really, and use that to keep from mushrooming out your bayonet extension, or your extended bayonet lug. Seeing the fact that this is just my Spanish Mauser, I'm not too concerned. I wouldn't be doing this with any other style. So the reason you've got to take this off is so that you can get this H-band off. So very simple. You see this retaining band, you're just going to press it down, and sometimes you can start working this by hand, and sometimes you can't. In which case, one of the things you can do is you can use this. This is really not going to play nice today. You can use this to press down on this button. I know you can't see that. I'm taking my punch. I'm pressing down on this button here. And then while it's pressed down, I'm going to take my hammer and I'm going to hit it from this side. As you can see, that's not working. Let me act shocked. Alright, I'll be right back. Let me grab another punch. Okay, sorry about that. I now have my 1/8 punch, and we're gonna get into this. So I'm gonna press down once again. Man, that thing is really in there. I don't know why it seized up. Let's try a different approach. There we go. Finally got it started. So then, once again, I don't recommend using a screwdriver on this. Get a piece of wood, and you can kind of place it right on this band. You gotta be careful about it. Don't get into your wood. Booger that up. And you see how your band is going to start moving off quite easily. So then you're going to pull your H-band right off. Now you see what's retained here, or your retaining band, can then just pull right out. Going to remove that. Now, depending on your Spanish Mauser, if this sling swivel band is too tight, you're going to have to loosen this. I might have tightened, actually I didn't tighten mine too much, that's good. But basically you have a flathead screw here, and on the other side you can see there's kind of a weird rounded nut right there. That's why I was saying you're probably going to need a pair of channel locks or a pair of pliers, because you're going to have to loosen this some. You don't want to loosen it all the way unless it's absolutely impossible to get it off, but you want to loosen it some to where you can take this band, this sling swivel, or this band slash sling swivel, and just slide it off. You're going to slide it completely off. Now that's off. So the next part, this is critical. You got to be really careful with this upper handguard. I don't have a foolproof approach that's going to keep you from ripping the band off underneath here. I would say just be really careful as you start to lift it off, as careful as you can be, and it still may pull right out. What I did is I just took a screwdriver, just kind of put it in here and just kind of pry it a little bit. I'm going to slowly pull up on this. Now when I put this one on here, I oiled it very well. I'll show you that in just a second, because I didn't want to run into an issue. I just popped it up in the back. I didn't want to run into an issue. You're going to rotate, pull straight up. I didn't want to run into an issue where this band would be seized and would rip out of here. Now, as you guys saw in the original videos, there's a lot of pitting going on here. I'm not going to profess to tell you that this thing's in perfect shape. It's not. I will, however, advise you not to try to remove this rear sight, because oftentimes there's a screw that's holding it in here, but additionally they solder these things in. So unless you want to get out a torch, unless there's something really wrong with it, I would recommend against it. Alright, so now we've got the whole upper half off. So now we're going to concentrate on the lower half. So on your trigger guard, you've got two main screws that hold it into your, I guess you'd call it the upper receiver in this case, or your barrel action, and then you've got little retaining screws in here as well. You're going to have to take those retaining screws out first, so that's why you need two different size screwdrivers, because they're much smaller, obviously. So we're going to take the front retaining one out. Some people call them keepers. I don't know the proper term. I apologize. I don't profess to know everything about guns. So you're going to go ahead and take that front one out. You're going to take your larger screw out that keeps it in the action. And then we're going to move to the rear. Now the interesting thing is, I believe on the rear I can remove the larger screw without having to take that keeper out. We're about to find out. Yep, actually can. It's kind of surprising. I'll pull that screw out. That's your longer one. Now this should lift right out after you do that. Sometimes it might help to get your punch. Just get it down in here a little bit, just to apply a little bit of pressure. There we go. So now you've got your trigger guard and magazine housing out. If you guys saw one of my early videos, I couldn't actually get this floor plate out. I probably can, but I'm not going to do it for the sake of this video. Basically what that involves is pressing this button down and then pulling your floor plate rearward. So you're going to press this down, and at the same motion you're going to pull this back, and then this should slide out and come out along with your follower and your spring. So now that we've got that apart, then we're just going to simply take our barreled action and we're going to lift it up and out of the stock. So now you've got your barreled action up and out of the stock. Now at this point, if you want to, one of the things you can do is you can actually drive this pin out here and remove your trigger assembly. You can do that if you want. Depends on how dirty it is. Just be careful of how you take it apart so you can get it back together. And another thing you can do is you can actually take this screw out right here on this. You guys are going to have to tell me in the comments. It's basically just a retainer that keeps your magazine in. And there's a spring. It's spring loaded. It can be a bit of a pain to get back together, but you know, there is your, I guess you'd call it rough disassembly. You know, obviously you guys can back it up if you want to see how to put it back together, but there you have it. It's pretty simple to take apart. Not a lot to it. So there you go, Tim. There's your disassembly of your M43 Spanish Mauser. You can do it yourself in under 10 minutes, but if yours is rusted, it's probably going to take you a while. I highly recommend PB Blaster, because you don't want to be hammering on stuff and it break. I mean, you can see, like in the case of mine, there was a lot of pitting that was going on a lot of the parts. I mean, it's pretty rough looking. And I wasn't trying to get this thing completely clean and perfect, because I knew that wouldn't be possible. So I just basically try to do a pretty decent job of, you know, kind of getting most of that rust off and just oiling everything very well. So anyway, if you guys like this video, hit the like and subscribe button. Certainly appreciate it. Helps grow the channel. Share with your friends if they like stuff like this as well. Got tons of other videos out there, unboxings and cleanups and refurbishment, and tons more great content on the way. And hopefully, maybe in a few weeks, get 2 new CNR weapons. We'll see about this. It's something in the works. So anyway, everybody, thanks for watching. You guys have a great day, and always be careful. One thing I neglected to say, just always be careful when you're doing stuff like this. You can easily get cut. You know, you can easily damage your rifle. You definitely don't want to do that. And as always, before you start any adventure like this, make sure your weapon's unloaded first. You don't want to have an unsafe firearm. One thing you didn't see me do, I didn't take this bolt apart. There's plenty of videos out there on Mauser, on disassembly of Mauser bolts. They're all pretty much the same. You know, there's no, they're almost all the same really, because it's the same bolt, same concept. So just some things to remember when you actually do take these apart. So anyway, if you guys like this video, hit the like and subscribe button, share with your friends, and I'll keep working on getting more content like this out. Appreciate it.